Hello, everybody. Today I wanted to do a prepping video. Basically, what I'm going to be talking about is a few things that I think that people could get that's affordable. It's cheap stuff that anybody can get and keep in like an emergency kit for like either a natural disaster or something like that where they have to, like, if they lose power, they can't drink the water and stuff like that. First off, I want to say one of the major things you should get is get um like the bottles of drinking water. Obviously, that's one thing you're going to need because you know, if you're if you can't drink the water because it's contaminated or something like that because of flooding, you're gonna need something to drink because if I remember correctly how it goes, it's 3 by 3 by 3. 3 days without food, 3 days without, wait, no, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, and I forget what the other one is. But anyway, off that. Um, so, first off, water. That's a major thing. You need water. Whether it is through. Now, granted, I'm not a good person to say about water because I drink soda all the time. But yeah. So another thing you could do is, like, for us, we actually have a nice advantage. We're on a well system, which the well actually collects rainwater, and we can turn around and use that for drinking water and etc. etc. Which actually runs through a filtration system in itself. Um, Now, if we're not allowed to drink the water because something happens to the filtration system, our landlord is pretty good at it. He actually leaves a notice on our door, on all the tenants' doors, telling them, "Hey, you don't drink the water. Uh, don't drink the water for like 24 hours or 48 hours or something like that." But one thing which is nice, and I can use this as an example for. Now, granted, it has soda in it right now. I mean, it's got very little soda in it, but it still works for it. After I'm finished drinking this, I can either keep the label or remove it. I can fill this up with water and just sit it somewhere out of the way. It's a sealed container that I can hold water in, and that water, if for any reason I can't drink the water here, I have a water source. Number two, food. Obviously, you're going to need food. I know some affordable options for you is one that I just seen at my job. We actually sell. Now, I work in a grocery store, and we have a bulk section. We sell some stuff in bulk. And the one thing that I seen that was in bulk, and I thought it's a good deal for it, is the packs of ramen noodles. But it's not like the 5 packs or the 10 packs. No. This is the boxes of 48. Okay, so 48 packs of ramen noodles. That is essentially 48 different meals for myself. Because each bag, essentially, in my household, feeds one person. Granted, out of that bag, I think we have used maybe 5 so far. So that leaves 43. Plus, then we have extras from previous bags of stuff. Like, the one that I purchased is chicken, but we also have a small bag of shrimp and a bag of beef. So, essentially, we got more than 48. Another thing is beans, like the dried beans that you get in your local grocery store that comes in the bags, and like the boxes of rice, the minute rice or whatever. Um, a couple other affordable things are like maybe go to your grocery store and when you see they got canned canned vegetables and stuff like that on sale, grab up on them, and that way you have them as a backup. Um, a perfect example of this is many years ago. My grandfather and my grandmother were living alone. While they were living together in a trailer, and the electricity went out in their trailer. Now, most people are thinking, well, that's just the electricity. It's no big deal. Well, their electricity ran their heater as well. So, my grandfather basically already had a contingency plan in case this happened. He had a small propane heater, which he kept, which actually was a good idea because propane heater actually was, even though it was a small propane heater, it still heated the entire trailer. Secondly, all the food in the refrigerator, they had to eat quick. So obviously, all that food had to be eaten. So, and they usually didn't keep much in the refrigerator anyway, because that's just most of the stuff they bought was stuff that they had to make. That was like in cans or stuff like that. But as you see this cabinet behind me, they had in their trailer. Well, they had another one too. Both this one and the other one, which was actually larger. It actually, I think, tripled the size of this one. Essentially, both of them were filled with cans of food. So, as in a way, my grandfather was a prepper. In a sense, he actually kept a pretty decent stock of food. And when they had to go to the grocery store, it was usually milk, orange juice, bread, stuff like that. But essentially, all the food that they had in their refrigerator, they either ate or they had to call myself and my parents and my other family members and ask them to come over and get the food so that it didn't spoil for them, which was a smart idea. But they stayed there. They were pretty comfortable. I mean, I was probably about maybe 17 at the time, so during the weekends I'd stay with them. But in a sense, that's actually a good thing to do. Keep canned food on stock. And also, while you have it in stock, also make sure you check the dates on the stuff, because after a while, granted, they're only sell-by dates, they're not expiration dates. Some of that food can still spoil. So yeah, you kind of gotta know what you're doing with that stuff. For instance, like tuna, anything seafood related. Usually on the sell-by dates, that's usually when I end up throwing them out because I don't run the risk of keeping them longer. Because usually if you do, that's when you can get sick. You can get majorly sick from it. But like vegetables and stuff like that, I don't really worry about it because vegetables, the stuff's canned. It's not like no oxygen can get into the can unless it's damaged. So I usually tend to keep that stuff. But honestly, I'd just say canned foods, dried foods, and basically bulk stuff that is stuff that's non-perishable. All three of these are things that I would suggest. Um, Another thing I would suggest is keeping candles on stock. Um, Either, you know, your traditional candles that you get at a grocery store, or at, maybe one of those furniture places that they sell those fancy candles and stuff like that. You can use them, or you can go to like your dollar store and get 4.5 hour candles. Um, Actually, I went to the one Dollar General that we have around here and purchased, I think it was maybe nine or 10 candles from them, and I paid $1 for it. And it was emergency candles that if the power goes out and we have no lights, we can light them and they'll stay lit for at least 4.5 hours, maybe even longer. Um, I also have purchased ones that have lasted longer. I've purchased ones that have lasted up to 9 hours. Granted, they were longer candles and they basically used a similar wax. But you can actually get candles like that. That's another thing I'd suggest, because not only is it a light source, it's also a heat source if you can use it correctly. Um, and also you can use them for fire starters if you need to. So yeah, just a few suggestions to people out there. If there's anything that you think that I may have missed, please leave the questions in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe and hit that notification. And comments down below. Hope to see you again very soon, and happy Halloween if I don't see you sooner.